I introduce John Corbett, one of the Corbetts of Ballymoney, but at present a Cambridge student.
How do you do?
This is Miss McKenna, our energetic secretary.
I thought it better to let you in myself. This country is still sufficiently medieval to make spiritualism an undesirable theme for gossip. Give me your coats and hats. I'll put them in my own room. It's just across the hall. Or better sit down. Your watches must be fast. Mrs. Henderson is lying down, as she always does before a séance. We won't begin for 10 minutes yet.
Miss McKenna does all the real work of the Dublin Spiritualist Association. She did all the correspondence with Mrs. Henderson and persuaded the landlady to let her this big room and a small room upstairs. We're a poor society and couldn't guarantee anything in advance. Mrs. Henderson has come from London at her own risk. She was born in Dublin and wants to spread the movement here. She lives very economically and doesn't expect a great deal. We all give what we can. A poor woman with the soul of an apostle.
Have there been many seances?
Only 3 so far.
I hope she will not mind my skepticism. I have looked into Meyer's Human Personality and a Wild book by Conan Doyle, but am unconvinced.
We all have to find the truth for ourselves. Lord Dunraven, then Lord Adair, introduced my father to the famous David Home. My father often told me he saw David Home floating in the air in broad daylight, but I didn't believe a word of it. I had to investigate for myself, and I was very hard to convince. Mrs. Piper, an American trance medium not unlike Mrs. Henderson, convinced me.
A state of somnambulism and voices coming through her lips that purport to be those of dead persons.
Exactly. Quite the best kind of mediumship if you want to establish the identity of a spirit. But don't expect too much. There's been a hostile influence.
You mean an evil spirit?
The poet Blake said that he never knew a bad man that didn't have something very good about him. I say a hostile influence, an influence that disturbed the last séance very seriously. I can't tell you what happened, for I've not been at any of Mrs. Henderson's séances. Trance mediumship has nothing new to show me. I told the young people when they made me their president that I'd probably stay at home, that I could get more out of Emanuel Swedenborg than out of any séance. That's probably old Cornelius Patterson. He thinks they race horses and whippets in the other world, and is, so they tell me, so anxious to find out if he's right that he's always punctual. Miss McKenna will keep him to herself for some minutes. He gives her tips for Harold's Cross.
This is a wonderful room for a lodging house.
It was a private house till about 50 years ago. It wasn't so near the town in those days, and there are large stables at the back. Quite a number of notable people lived here. Grattan was born upstairs. No, not Grattan. Curran, perhaps. Oh, I forget. But I do know that this house, in the early part of the 18th century, belonged to friends of Jonathan Swift, or rather of Stella.
Oh?
Swift chaffed her in the journal to Stella because of certain small sums of money she lost at cards, probably in this very room.
Really?
That was before Vanessa appeared upon the scene. It was a country house in those days, surrounded by trees and gardens. Somebody cut some lines from a poem of hers upon the window-pane. Tradition says Stella herself. Here they are, but you'll hardly make them out in this light.
Where is Mrs. Henderson?
Well, she's upstairs. She always rests before a séance.
I must see her before the séance. I know exactly what to do to get rid of this evil influence.
If you go up to see her, there'll be no séance at all. She says it's dangerous even to think, much less to speak of an evil
Well,
influence.
then I shall speak to the president.
Better talk the whole thing over first in my room. Mrs. Henderson says there must be perfect harmony.
Well, something must be done. The last séance was completely spoiled.
Oh, that may be Mrs. Mallet. She's a very experienced spiritualist. Look, come to my room. Old Patterson and some others are there already.
Oh, very well.
I know those lines well. They are part of a poem Stella wrote for Swift's 54th birthday. Only 3 poems of hers and some lines she added to a poem of Swift's have come down to us. But they are enough to prove her a better poet than Swift. Even those few words on the window make me think of a 17th century poet, Donogh or Crashaw. You taught how I might youth prolong by knowing what is right and wrong. How from my heart to bring supplies of lustre to my fading eyes. How strange that a celibate scholar well on in life should keep the love of 2 such women. He met Vanessa in London at the height of his political power. She followed him to Dublin. She loved him for 9 years, perhaps died of love. But Stella loved him all her life.
I've shown that writing to several persons, and you're the first who's recognized the lines.
Well, I am writing an essay on Swift and Stella for my doctorate at Cambridge. I hope to prove that in Swift's day men of intellect reached the height of their power, the greatest position they ever attained in society and the state, that everything great in Ireland and in our character in what remains of our architecture comes from that day, that we have kept at sea longer than England.
A tragic life. Bolingbroke, Harley, Ormond, all those great ministers that were his friends, banished and broken.
No, I do not think you can explain him in that way. His tragedy had deeper foundations. His ideal order was the Roman Senate, his ideal men, Brutus and Cato. Such an order and such men had seemed possible once more. But the movement passed, and he foresaw the ruin to come. Democracy, Rousseau, the French Revolution. That is why he hated the common run of men. I hate lawyers, I hate doctors, he said, though I love Dr. So-and-so and Judge So-and-so. That is why he wrote Gulliver. That is why he wore out his brain. That is why he felt Seva indignatio. That is why he sleeps under the greatest epitaph in history. You remember how it goes. It is almost finer in English than in Latin. He has gone where fierce indignation can lacerate his heart. No more.
Here it is. Now, something must be done, Dr. Trench, to drive away the influence that has destroyed our seances. I have come here week after week at considerable expense. I am from Belfast. I am by profession a minister of the gospel. I do a great deal of work among the poor and ignorant. I produce considerable effect by singing and preaching, but I know that my effect should be much greater than it is. And my hope is that I should be able to communicate with the great evangelist Moody. I want to ask him to stand invisible beside me when I speak or sing, and lay his hands upon my head, and give me such a portion of his power that my work may be blessed as the work of Moody and Sankey was blessed.
What Mr. Johnson says about the hostile influence is quite true. The last two seances were completely spoiled. I'm thinking of starting a tea shop in Folkestone. I followed Mrs. Henderson to Dublin to get my husband's advice. But two spirits kept talking and wouldn't let any other spirit say a word.
Did the spirits say the same thing and go through the same drama at both seances?
Yes, just as if they were characters in some kind of horrible play.
That's what I was afraid of.
My husband was drowned at sea 10 years ago, but constantly speaks to me through Mrs. Henderson, as if he was still alive. He advises me about everything I do, and I'm utterly lost if I can't question him.
I never did like the heaven they talk about in churches. But when somebody told me that Mrs. Mallett's husband ate and drank and went about with his favourite dog, I says to myself, haha, that's the place for Corny Patterson. Now, I came here to find out if it was true, and I declare to God, I've not heard one word about it.
Now, I ask you, Dr. Trench, as president of the Dublin Spiritualists Association, to permit me to read the ritual of exorcism appointed for such occasions. After the last seance, I copied it out of an old book in the library of Belfast University. I have it here.
Now, the spirits are people like ourselves. We treat them as our guests and protect them from discourtesy and violence. And every exorcism is a curse, or a threatened curse. We do not admit that there are evil spirits. Some spirits are earthbound. They think they are still living and go over and over some action of their past lives, just as we go over and over some painful thought, except that where they are, thought is reality. For instance, when a spirit which has died a violent death comes to a medium for the first time, it relives all the pains of death.
When my husband came for the first time, the medium gasped and struggled as if she was drowning. It was terrible to watch.
Sometimes a spirit relives not the pain of death, but some passionate or tragic moment of life. Swedenborg describes this and gives the reason for it. There's an incident of the kind in the Odyssey, and many in Eastern literature. The murderer repeats his murder, the robber his robbery, the lover his serenade. The soldier hears the trumpet once again. If I were a Catholic, I would say that such spirits were in purgatory. In vain do we write requiescat in pace upon the tomb, for they must suffer, and we in our turn must suffer, until God gives peace.
Amen. Amen.
Such spirits don't often come to seances unless those seances are held in houses where those spirits lived or where the event took place. This spirit, which speaks those incomprehensible words and doesn't answer when spoken to, is of such a nature. The more patient we are, the more quickly will it pass out of its passion and its remorse.
Well, I am still convinced that the spirit which disturbed the last seance is evil, and if I may not exorcise it, I will certainly pray for protection.
Mrs. Henderson's control Lulu is able and experienced and can protect both medium and sitters. But it may help, Lulu, if you pray that the spirit find rest. Mrs. Henderson, may I introduce to you Mr. Corbett, a young man from Cambridge and a skeptic, who hopes you'll be able to convince him.
We were all skeptics once. You mustn't expect too much from a first seance. He must persevere.
I'm glad that you're a skeptic.
I thought you were a spiritualist.
I've seen a good many seances, and sometimes think it's all coincidence and thought transference. Then at other times I think as Dr. Trench does. And then I feel like Job. You know the quotation. The hair of my head stands up. The spirit passes before my face.
Turn the key, Dr. Trench. We don't want anybody blundering in here. You can't sit here, Miss McKenna.
No, I'm going to sit beside Mr. Corbett.
You feel like Job tonight.
I feel that something is going to happen. That is why I'm glad that you're a skeptic.
You feel safer.
Yes, safer.
Well, I'm glad to meet all my dear friends again, and to welcome Mr. Corbett amongst us. As he is a stranger, I must explain that we do not call up spirits. We make the right conditions and they come. I do not know who is going to come. Sometimes there are a great many and the guides choose between them. The guides try to send somebody for everybody, but do not always succeed. If you want to speak to some dear friend who has passed over, do not be discouraged. If your friend cannot come this time, maybe he can next time. My control is a dear little girl called Lulu, who died when she was 5 or 6 years old. She describes the spirits present and tells us what spirit wants to speak. Miss McKenna, a verse of a hymn, please, the same we had last time, and will everyone join in the singing?
Son, my soul, thou Saviour dear, it is not night if thou be near. O may no earth-born cloud arise to hide thee from thy servant's eyes.
She always snores like that when she's going off.
Lulu's so glad to see all her friends.
And we are glad you've come, Lulu.
Lulu glad to see new friend.
She's speaking to you.
Thank you, Lulu.
You mustn't laugh at the way I talk.
I am not laughing, Lulu.
Nobody must laugh. Lulu does her best but can't say big, long words. Lulu sees a tall man here. Lots of hair on face.
Yes.
Not much on the top of his head.
Yes.
Red necktie. And such a funny sort of pin.
Yes. Yes.
Pin like a horseshoe.
It's my husband.
He has a message.
Yes.
Lulu can't hear. He is too far off. He has come near. Lulu can hear now. He says, drive that man away. He is pointing to somebody in the corner, that corner over there. He says it is the bad man who spoilt everything last time. If they won't drive him away, Lulu will scream.
That horrible spirit again.
Last time he monopolized the sounds.
He wouldn't let anybody speak but himself.
They have driven that bad man away. Lulu sees a young lady.
Is not my husband here?
Man with funny pin gone away. Young lady here. Lulu thinks she must be at a fancy dress party. Oh, such funny clothes. Hair all in curls. All bent down on floor. Near that old man with glasses.
What?
Oh. Oh. That bad man. That bad old man in the corner. They have let him come back. Lulu is going to scream. Ee, ee.
How dare you write to her? How dare you ask if we were married? How dare you question her?
So in his egg.
You sit crouching there. Did you not hear what I said? How dared you question her? I found you an ignorant little girl without intellect, without moral ambition. How many times did I not stay away from great men's houses? How many times forsake the Lord Treasurer? How many times neglect the business of the state that we might read Plutarch together?
Dr. Cratchit.
I taught you to think in every situation of life, not as Hester Van Homrig would think in that situation, but as Cato or Brutus would. And now you behave like some common slut with her ear against the keyhole.
It is Swift, Jonathan Swift, talking to the woman he called Vanessa. She was christened Hester Van Homrig.
I questioned her, Jonathan, because I love. Why have you let me spend hours in your company if you did not want me to love you?
When I rebuilt Rome in your mind, it was as though I walked its streets.
Was that all, Jonathan? Was I nothing but a painter's canvas?
My God, do you think it was easy? I was a man of strong passions, and I had sworn never to marry.
If you and she are not married, why should we not marry like other men and women? I loved you from the first moment when you came to my mother's house and began to teach me. I thought it would be enough to look at you, to speak to you, to hear you speak. I followed you to Ireland 5 years ago, and I can bear it no longer. It is not enough to look, to speak, to hear. Jonathan, I am a woman. The women Brutus and Cato loved were not different.
I have something in my blood that no child must inherit. I have constant attacks of dizziness. I pretend they come from a surfeit of fruit when I was a child. I had them in London. There was a great doctor there, Dr. Arbuthnot. I told him of those attacks of dizziness. I told him of worse things. It was he who explained. There is a line of Dryden's.
Oh, I know. Great wits are sure to madness near allied. If you had children, Jonathan, my blood would make them healthy. I will take your hand. I will lay it upon my heart, upon the Van Homrig blood that has been healthy for generations. That is the first time you have touched my body, Jonathan.
What do I care if it be healthy? What do I care if it could make mine healthy? Am I to add another to the healthy rascaldom and knavery of the world?
Look at me, Jonathan. Your arrogant intellect separates us. Give me both your hands. I will put them upon my breast. Oh, it is white, white as the gambler's dice.
Think of the uncertainty. Perhaps a mad child. Perhaps a rascal. Perhaps a knave. Perhaps not, Jonathan. The dice of the intellect are loaded, but I am a common ivory dice. It is not my hands that draw you back. My hands are weak. They could not draw you back if you did not love as I love. You said that you have strong passions. That is true, Jonathan. No man in Ireland is so passionate. That is why you need me. That is why you need children. Nobody has greater need. You are growing old. An old man without children is very solitary. Even his friends, men as old as he, turn away. They turn towards the young. Their children, or their children's children. They cannot endure an old man like themselves. You are not too old for the dice, Jonathan. But a few years, if you turn away, will make you an old, miserable, childless man. Oh, God! Hear the prayer of Jonathan Swift, that afflicted man, and grant that he may leave to posterity nothing but his intellect that came to him from heaven. Can you face solitude with that mind, Jonathan? Dice, white, ivory, dice. My God! Am I left alone with my enemy? Who locked the door? Who locked me in with my enemy?
Oh, that old man. Do not let him come back. That old man does not know he is dead. Lulu can't find fathers, mothers, sons that have passed over. Power almost gone. Another verse of hymn. Everybody sing. Hymn will bring good influence.
Child of thine, has learned today the voice divine.
Stella.
Gracious work begin. Listen, O Lord, lie down in sin.
I thought she was speaking.
I saw her lips move.
She'd be more comfortable with a cushion. But we might wake her.
No, nothing can wake her out of a trance like that until she wakes up herself.
Stella.
Did you hear that? She said Stella.
Vanessa has gone. Stella has taken her place.
Did you notice the change while we were singing? The new influence in the room.
I thought I did. But it must have been fancy.
Have I wronged you, beloved Stella? Are you unhappy? You have no children. You have no lover. You have no husband. A cross and aging man for friend. Nothing but that. But no, do not answer. You have answered already in that poem you wrote for my last birthday. With what scorn you speak of the common lot of women, with no endowments but a face. Before the 30th year of life, a maid forlorn or hated wife. It is the thought of the great Chrysostom, who wrote in a famous passage, that women loved according to the soul, loved as saints can love, keep their beauty longer, have greater happiness than women loved according to the flesh. That thought has comforted me, but it is a terrible thing to be responsible for another's happiness. There are moments when I doubt, when I think Chrysostom may have been wrong. But now I have your poem to drive doubt away. You have addressed me in these noble words. You taught how I might youth prolong, by knowing what is right and wrong, how from my heart to bring supplies of lustre to my fading eyes, how soon a beauteous mind repairs the loss of changed or falling hairs, how wit and virtue from within can spread a smoothness o'er the skin.
The words upon the window-pane.
Then, because you understand that I am afraid of solitude, afraid of outliving my friends and myself, you comfort me in that last verse. You overpraise my moral nature when you attribute to it a rich mantle. But oh, how touching those words which describe your love. Late dying, may you cast a shred of that rich mantle o'er my head, to bear with dignity my sorrow, one day alone, then die tomorrow. Yes, you will close my eyes, Stella. Oh, you will live long after me, dear Stella, for you are still a young woman, but you will close my eyes.
Bad old man gone. Power all used up. Lulu can do no more. Bye, friends.
Go away. Go away.
I saw him a moment ago. Has he spoilt the seance again?
Yes, Mrs. Henderson, my husband came, but he was driven away.
Dr. Trench, I think we'd better
Mrs.
take
Henderson is very tired. We must leave her to rest. You did your best, and nobody can do more than that.
No, I can't take any money, not after a seance like that.
Of course you must take it, Mrs. Henderson.
God bless you.
A bad seance is just as exhausting as a good seance, and you must be paid.
No, please don't. It's very wrong to take money for such a failure. Well, God bless you.
No, the jockey is paid whether he wins or not.
God bless you.
That spirit rather thrilled me.
If you insist, I must take it.
I shall pray for you tonight. I shall ask God to bless and protect your seances.
Thank you, Reverend.
I know you are tired, Mrs. Henderson, but I must speak to you. I have been deeply moved by what I've heard. And this is my contribution to prove that I am satisfied, completely satisfied.
Oh, no. Nobody ever gives me more than 10 shillings, and yet the seance was a failure.
Well, when I say that I am satisfied, I do not mean that I am convinced it was the work of spirits. I prefer to think that you created it all, that you're an accomplished actress and scholar. In my essay for my Cambridge doctorate, I examined all the explanations of Swift's celibacy offered by his biographers and proved that the explanation you selected was the only plausible one. But there is something I must ask you. Swift was the chief representative of the intellect of his epoch, that arrogant intellect free at last from superstition. He foresaw its collapse. He foresaw democracy. He must have dreaded the future. Did he refuse to beget children because of that dread? Was Swift mad? Or was it the intellect itself that was mad?
Who are you talking of, sir?
Swift, of course.
Swift? I don't know anybody called Swift.
Jonathan Swift, whose spirit seemed to be present here tonight.
What, that dirty old man?
Well, he was neither old nor dirty when Stella and Vanessa loved him.
I saw him very clearly just as I woke up. His clothes were dirty, his face covered with boils. Some disease had made one of his eyes swell up. It stood out from his face like a hen's egg.
He looked like that in his old age. Stella had been dead a long time. His brain had gone. His friends had deserted him. The man appointed to take care of him beat him to keep him quiet.
Now they're old, now they're young. They change all in a moment as their thought changes. It's sometimes a terrible thing to be out of the body. God help us all.
Come along, Corbett. Mrs. Henderson's tired out.
Well, goodbye, Mrs. Henderson.
God bless you. Oh, how tired I am. I'd be the better of a cup of tea.
Five great ministers that were my friends are gone. 10 great ministers that were my friends are gone. I have not fingers enough to count the great ministers that were my friends and that are gone.
Where did we put that tea caddy? There it is. There should be a cup and saucer.